Hey, I'm Alex. I'm 25. And after a few chaotic years in the city, trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted, I moved back to my hometown. Nothing dramatic happened. It just felt like I was running in circles. So I hit pause and came back to live with my mom for a bit. She's great, a bit talkative, always baking something, always checking in. Right now, I work part-time remotely for a logistics company. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and gives me freedom. I've been spending more time at home reconnecting with old friends, jogging in the evenings, fixing up small things around the house. It's quiet, but I needed quiet. And then Nana started coming around again. Nana is my mom's best friend. She's been in and out of our lives since I was a kid. They worked together years ago, stayed close ever since. She's 41 now, recently divorced, no kids, elegant, confident with this way of walking into a room and making it feel warmer, but sharper too. You notice her always. She started visiting more often once I moved back. At first, I thought it was just to keep my mom company, but I began to notice little things, the way she'd ask about my work, the way she looked at me when I made a joke. Once she even brushed something off my shoulder that wasn't there. Nothing major, just something. Anyway, the awkward moment happened on a Tuesday afternoon. I was helping my mom with a slideshow project for her high school reunion. Her laptop was acting up, so I offered to do it on mine. I had to pull a few photos off her email, and I noticed Nana had sent her a folder. I clicked thinking it was old group photos. It wasn't. It was a mix of pictures, some casual, some clearly taken professionally. Nana at the beach. Nana in a cocktail dress. Nana in soft lighting with a book in her hand. Nothing inappropriate, but intimate, beautiful, tasteful. Honestly, they were stunning. I didn't realize I was leaning in until I heard a voice behind me. "You missed the best ones." I froze. I didn't have to turn around to know it was her, but I did slowly. She was standing there with a coffee mug in one hand and a small, knowing smile on her face. Not angry, not even embarrassed, just amused. Sorry, I muttered, like a kid caught doing something wrong. I was just looking for the reunion photos. She said, walking past me, placing her mug on the counter. "And you just happened to land on that folder." I shrugged, trying to laugh it off. "It was an email thread. I didn't mean to." "Relax," she interrupted, gently, still smiling. "If I didn't want anyone to see them, I wouldn't have sent them." I didn't know what to say. I felt every bit of heat rush to my face. I wanted to melt into the floor. Then she added casually, "Though I didn't expect you to stop there. You really did miss the best ones." She looked right at me. Then she turned and walked away, calling out, "Tell your mom I'll be back for dinner." I sat there for a long minute after the door closed. No sound, just a faint hum, the laptop fan, and my heartbeat in my ears. Something shifted in me that day. The way she looked at me, like she saw not just a boy who grew up under her nose, but a man. And the fact that she wasn't shocked or upset, it was like she opened a door just enough to let me know if I wanted to look in, I could. I didn't sleep well that night. Every time I closed my eyes, her voice echoed, "You missed the best ones." I didn't bring it up, not to her, not to my mom, not to anyone. The next few days after that moment, I just kept my head down, tried to act normal, tried to forget the way she said it. "You missed the best ones." But I couldn't. It stayed with me like a hum beneath everything I did. Every time I walked past the living room where she stood that day, I felt the memory hit me again. The quiet tone in her voice, the way her eyes lingered for half a second longer than necessary. Still, I told myself it was nothing, a joke, a moment. That was it. Then came Saturday. Mom was in one of her usual moods, cooking enough food for 10 people, music playing, humming to herself in the kitchen. She told me Nana was coming over around 5 to drop off a bottle of wine and stay for dinner. I kept it cool, wore a clean t-shirt, didn't overthink it. She arrived a little late, just as the sun was starting to dip. I heard her voice in the hallway, first light relaxed. They chatted in the kitchen while I scrolled through something meaningless on my phone, trying not to listen, but catching every word. A few minutes later, I was called in to help set the table. We all laughed about something dumb, my mom making fun of my inability to fold napkins properly. Nana was standing across from me laying out silverware, and at one point our eyes met for just a second too long. No smile, just something steady, focused. Dinner was nice, normal roast chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes, lots of stories. But I kept watching Nana in the corner of my eye. The way she sipped her wine, the way she rested her chin on her hand when she listened. She had that presence, like she was fully in control of how she existed in the space. After dinner, Mom said she was exhausted and headed off to take a bath, leaving us with dishes. I offered to clean up. Nana insisted on helping. It was quiet between us for the first few minutes, just the sound of water running, plates clinking gently. I washed, she dried, and then she said it. You know, she started softly without looking at me. I know what it's like to feel invisible. I paused, dish in hand. What do you mean? She kept drying the plate slow and methodical. After the divorce, she said, I went through this phase where I'd walk into a room and feel like no one noticed, or worse, like they saw me but didn't care. I hated that more than anything. I said nothing. I didn't know what I could say. She glanced at me, finally, her voice low. And then that day when I walked in and saw you looking, my chest tightened. I didn't know whether to apologize again, explain myself, make a joke, but I didn't get the chance. I didn't mind, she said. I actually liked that you saw me. I swallowed hard, still staring at the plate in my hand. The air between us felt dense, not tense, just charged, like something was about to happen but hadn't yet. She continued, people my age aren't used to being looked at like that anymore, like we're interesting, desirable, real. I turned to face her fully. She was standing still now, towel in hand, her expression soft. You've always been kind, Alex, she added. Respectful, gentle, but I noticed something else the other day. You weren't just being polite. I opened my mouth to say something, but I didn't even know what. She didn't let me speak anyway. It's okay, she said quickly. You don't have to explain. I just wanted you to know it meant something, being seen, really seen. There was a silence, but it wasn't awkward. It was thick with understanding and something unspoken, something quietly growing. Then she smiled again, a different smile than the one in the hallway, smaller, real. Tell your mom I left early, she said, placing the towel down. Traffic. And with that, she grabbed her coat and left. I stood there for another 10 minutes, surrounded by half-done dishes and the faint smell of roast chicken. I didn't know what was happening yet, but I knew it wasn't just in my head anymore. This wasn't just flirting. This was something else, something complicated maybe, but something real. A few days passed without seeing her. I tried not to think about it, but I caught myself checking the driveway every time I heard a car pull up. I'd hear the door open and wonder if it was her. It never was. I thought maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. Maybe she regretted saying what she said. Maybe she decided to pull away. But then my mom asked me if I could do her a favor, help Nana move a few pieces of furniture into her new condo. She just needs someone with a bit of muscle, my mom said, laughing as she handed me the address. I acted casual, said sure, didn't let on that my pulse had doubled. I showed up at noon on Saturday wearing old jeans and a gray t-shirt. Her car was already out front and the front door was open. I knocked anyway. Come in, she called out. I stepped inside. It was a nice place, warm tones, open layout, still half filled with boxes. She came out of the kitchen wiping her hands on a towel. She was in leggings and an oversized sweater, barefoot, her hair tied back loosely. Hey, she said, smiling in that quiet way of hers. Thanks for coming. No problem, I said, trying to sound normal. We got to work. It started simple, a bookshelf, 2 chairs, a coffee table. She had rented a small dolly, and I helped her move things room to room. We made small talk at first, nothing too deep, but the air was different than before, like something between us had already been said, and now we were circling it, seeing if either one of us would touch it again. We took a break after the heavier stuff. She poured us water, handed me a glass, and we sat on the floor against the wall, catching our breath. Her leg brushed against mine lightly, and neither of us moved away. "You've grown up," she said out of nowhere. I looked over at her. She was staring straight ahead. "I mean, obviously," she added with a small laugh. "But I remember when you were running around your mom's house with skin knees and a cereal mustache." I laughed too, a little nervous. "Yeah, I was a mess." "You were a kid," she said. "Now you're—" Her voice trailed off. I turned toward her. "Now I'm what?" She finally looked at me, direct calm. Her eyes didn't flinch. "You're not just some boy anymore, Alex." I didn't respond. I couldn't. The silence between us stretched, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was like a mutual acknowledgement. This invisible current that had been building finally had a name. Her voice was quiet when she spoke again. "I don't say things like that to just anyone." I nodded. "I know." Then she added, "And I don't invite just anyone to help me move." She was still looking at me when she said it. Her eyes didn't break away. I felt something shift inside me, not just attraction, not just nerves, something deeper, a clarity. I leaned in slightly, not all the way, just a small motion, like a question without words. And she didn't move, didn't flinch. Her face was inches from mine now. "If we do this," she said softly, "you don't tell anyone ever." "I won't," I said. I meant it. Her hand slid up to my face and she kissed me gently, but like she'd thought about it before. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't impulsive. It was calm, assured, deliberate. We didn't speak much after that. I helped her move a few last things and then I left. Nothing dramatic, no drama, just quiet. That night I lay in bed staring at the ceiling for hours, not replaying the kiss, but everything around it. Her voice, her eyes, the moment after, the way we both knew exactly what we were doing, and no one was confused. She didn't treat me like a kid. She didn't act like this was a mistake. And I didn't feel guilty. I felt seen, and I knew something had just begun, something real, something secret, but something neither of us wanted to walk away from. It had been 4 days since I kissed Nana. 4 long, quiet days, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like the air itself is aware that something has changed. I kept going about my routine like nothing happened. Woke up, worked, made small talk with my ma, walked the dog, and scrolled endlessly on my phone. But inside, everything felt different. I kept playing that moment back in my head, the look in her eyes, the certainty in her touch, how steady she was when she leaned in. Like it wasn't a mistake, like she knew exactly what she was doing, and how calm it felt afterward. Not chaotic, not confusing, just right. But then came the silence. No calls, no texts. She didn't come by the house like she usually did. She was just gone. And every day that passed made me question whether I'd imagined it all. Maybe she regretted it. Maybe she wanted to forget it ever happened. Or maybe she was just giving it space. I wasn't mad, just unsure, waiting without knowing if I was supposed to be waiting at all. Then on the fifth night, something changed. I was half watching a movie, not paying attention, when my phone buzzed. "Are you up?" That was it. 3 words. No emojis, no context, no name, but I didn't need one. I knew it was her. I sat up straight. My fingers hovered over the screen for a second before I typed, "Yeah." Then I waited. Nothing. I kept glancing at the screen and heart beating just a little too fast. I didn't know what to expect a reply. A call, nothing at all. Then came a knock, not the front door, the back one, the quieter one, the one no one used unless they were trying not to be noticed. I walked through the house quietly. My mom had gone to bed early that night. Her door was closed, lights out. When I opened the door, she was standing there, Nana, wearing a long, dark coat, hair pulled back in a loose tie, no makeup, still effortlessly beautiful. But her eyes, they looked different, focused, like she wasn't just dropping by, like she had made a decision and was about to see it through. We stood there for a second, neither of us saying anything. Then she broke the silence. "I parked a block away," she said, her voice soft but steady. I nodded and stepped aside to let her in. She walked in without looking back. I closed the door quietly behind her and followed her into the living room. She sat on the edge of the couch, keeping her coat on at first, like she hadn't decided how long she was staying, like part of her was still in motion. I stayed standing. "I didn't come here to talk," she said finally, eyes fixed on the floor. "But I need to say one thing first." I nodded. She looked up, met my eyes. "Promise me no one will ever know. Not your mom, not your friends, not anyone, not even years from now. This stays between us. I promise." She stared at me for a second longer, searching my face. Then she exhaled slowly. She stood up, unbuttoned her coat, and set it gently over the back of the couch. Underneath, she wore a soft gray sweater, simple jeans, and flats. Then she sat down again, this time closer. "I don't know what this is," she said, "but I like how it feels. I like how you feel." "I feel the same," I said. "We didn't rush anything. We sat together for a long time, our arms touching." She leaned her head against my shoulder. At one point, I reached for her hand and held it. Then she whispered, "I needed this." Me too. Before she left that night, she kissed me again, longer, deeper, still slow, still careful. "I'll text you when it's safe," she said. "Safe. When your mom's not around, when no one's asking questions, when I can just be with you." She slipped out through the back door. That became our rhythm. She'd find reasons to stop by, borrowing something, returning a dish, accidentally leaving her sunglasses behind. We'd find pockets of time, quiet corners, fleeting hours, and in those spaces we made something that felt more real than anything I'd had in years. Once she picked me up down the street, and we just drove, talked, parked near the lake, watched the reflections on the water. I held her hand. Another time I helped her set up her Wi-Fi. That turned into lunch, then 2 hours on the couch, then a kiss, then goodbye through the side gate. It all worked. It shouldn't have the age gap, the secrecy, the risk. But it did not because it was thrilling, but because it was peaceful, like we found a quiet place in a loud world. Every time she left, she said the same thing: "Don't tell anyone, not even someday." And every time I said back, "I won't." And I meant it. It's been 11 months. I counted not because I was keeping in a journal or marking a calendar, but because every part of me remembers when it started, the night she knocked on the back door, the way her voice sounded, when she asked me to promise, the weight of her hand in mine. That was the beginning. We haven't stopped since. We never defined what we were. No titles, no expectations, just a quiet understanding between two people who found something rare in each other. I'm still living at home. She still comes by carefully, thoughtfully, only when the timing is right, only when no one will ask questions. There are close calls. One evening, my mom came home earlier than expected while Nana and I were having coffee on the back patio. We heard the garage door, and in less than 5 seconds, Nana had stood up, smoothed her hair, and was already halfway to the gate. My mom didn't suspect a thing. She just came out with her usual, "Did I miss anything?" I said, "Just a sunset." Another time, and Nana texted me to meet her near the bookstore downtown. She said she had 20 minutes. We walked, held hands briefly when we turned down an empty side street. She kissed me behind a bakery with the smell of fresh bread in the air. Then she laughed and said, "This is ridiculous," and got in her car and drove away smiling. It was never big or dramatic, never messy. That was the beauty of it. Once I asked her if she ever felt guilty. She shook her head. "No, I felt guilty in my marriage. I don't feel anything like that with you." We were sitting in her living room at the time, late afternoon sunlight pouring through the blinds. Her shoes were off. My head was in her lap. She ran her fingers through my hair. I didn't say anything back. I just closed my eyes. It wasn't just about attraction anymore. That passed months ago. This was something deeper, a calm, a balance, a trust one couldn't explain to anyone, even if I wanted to. Sometimes we'd go weeks without seeing each other. Life would get in the way, family obligations, work, travel. But when we reconnected, it was like no time had passed. She'd smile, that same knowing smile, and I'd know we were still exactly where we left off. We started leaving notes, notebooks, folded slips of paper. I'd find one in a book she returned to my mom, or she'd slide one into the backseat of my car when I wasn't looking. Once she wrote, "You made me feel like a version of myself I forgot existed." I kept that one in my wallet. I wrote her back, "It wasn't just a phase, you stayed." She never mentioned it, but the next time I saw her, she wore that look, the one that said she read it a dozen times. Now almost a year and nothing has changed, and everything has. We're still a secret, still careful, but we're not unsure anymore. We've stopped questioning how it started or where it's going. We just live in it. She's hinted at things. A few weeks ago, we sat together in her kitchen after dinner. She said, "I used to imagine a life where I'd feel this peace. I thought it was fantasy. Turns out it was just rare." I asked, "Do you wish things were different?" She paused. "No, if anything changed, maybe this wouldn't work anymore. This only exists because we chose not to ruin it by explaining it to everyone." People ask if I'm seeing anyone. I say I'm focusing on work or that I haven't met the right person. They don't know I already have. My mom still talks about Nana, still invites her over for dinner, still thinks of her as her oldest, most trusted friend. If she ever knew, it would break her heart, not because it's wrong, but because it would change the way she saw both of us. So we protect her too. Sometimes I wonder how long we'll keep it going, a year, two, forever. But then I think, who says we have to decide? We see each other when we can. We talk when we need to. We share moments no one else will ever know about. Tonight I met her behind the bookstore again. She brought hot chocolate and two travel mugs and a book she wanted me to read. We sat in her car, engine off, windows, fogging up, and listened to music from the 90s on a local station. She looked at me and said, "You know what I like most about us? What? I don't have to pretend around you." I smiled. "Me neither. We're still a secret, still just ours." The story of Alex and Nana offers a profound life lesson about the beauty and complexity of human connection, especially when it defies societal norms. Their secret relationship, born from a moment of vulnerability and mutual recognition, teaches us that love and understanding can flourish in the quiet spaces where judgment doesn't reach. Alex's journey from casual indifference to embracing a deep unspoken bond with Nina highlights the courage it takes to honor authentic feelings even when they come with risks. This narrative reminds us to cherish the rare moments when someone truly sees us and to approach such connections with respect and honesty, regardless of external expectations. It's a call to listen to our hearts, to value the people who make us feel alive, and to navigate life's delicate balances with care, whether that means protecting loved ones or safeguarding something sacred. Alex and Nana's story is an emotional testament to the idea that the most meaningful relationships often require sacrifice, secrecy, and a commitment to living authentically in the moment. Please share your reflections in the comments. Have you ever found a connection that felt right, even if it was unconventional? Your stories deepen our understanding and build our community. If this tale stirred your heart, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to join our journey of raw emotional storytelling. Let's keep exploring life's hidden lessons together.